Hey guys, hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So today in this particular video, I'm going to take some basic mathematics, okay. Now this was one of the most requested video for this particular channel and many of you asked me to make it. I have seen students who prepare for chemistry and they struggle with mathematics, okay. The mathematics which comes basically in the numericals and in the physical chemistry portion. So it is very important to know the basics of them, how to use those basic formula or basic mathematics to solve those numericals, okay. That is very important to understand, and that you will be able to do when you know the formulas, right? Apart from those formula, there is one more very important thing, that is to analyze the concept, okay, to analyze the equation, that what you have to put where, that is also very important, and that comes only with practice, okay. That nobody can just give you something to do that, right? That will only come with practice. So the first and the very important thing, if you are lagging in mathematics, is to face that, okay, face those questions, try to solve them, okay. In this video I am going to take three things which are very necessary whenever you take any physical chemistry question or whenever you study any physical chemistry topic. Those three topics are: first one is your graphs, basically the straight line plot, okay, understanding the straight line plot, how to how to analyze or how to plot or how to know what will be the slope, what is going to be the intercept. So straight line plot is very important. If you see all the different topics like your chemical kinetics, electrochemistry, even in your thermodynamics, you have equations which are being plotted on the straight line. So you should know about that, like how to analyze that straight line plot. And the second and the third thing is going to be about the calculus, that is differentiation and integration. So how to solve basic differentiation and integration equations, that I'm going to do. So I'll be giving you formula as well as I'll be discussing them, okay. So that's how this particular class is going to be. So let's start this particular class now. Alright, so the first thing which we are going to understand is the straight line plot, okay. It is very important because there are a lot of equations, as I already told you, are based upon this equation and which are being plotted against this equation, okay. So let me just write that down. So we are going to understand the straight line plot. Alright, now we all know that a particular straight line basically is represented in mathematics by this particular equation. The equation goes like y is equals to mx plus c. Now over here, if you are plotting the graph, let's say I'm plotting a particular graph over here. So the graph goes something like this, that if these are my x and y axis, okay, this is going to be the x axis and this is going to be my y axis. So the graph goes for this y is equals to mx plus c. Your graph goes in this direction, let's see, okay. Now if this is the line, that is y is equals to, so if this is the line, that is y is equals to mx plus c, in that particular case this line will have two very important things. The first thing is the slope of the line, okay, and the slope of the line is represented by this m, okay, and that tells you that at what angle your line is going to be inclined on the x-axis. So if this is x-axis, so at what angle it is inclined to that. So this theta value is going to be denoted by slope. Slope is denoted by m letter, and its value is equals to the tangent or the tan theta, okay. That's what the value is. Also it is equals to your dy by dx, okay. So the differentiation of your y-axis, whatever term you have on the y-axis, if you differentiate that term with whatever term you have on the x-axis, if you differentiate both of them, you are going to get the slope of the line, okay. So that is about the slope. The second important thing is the intercept. The intercept is actually at what point or at what distance does your line is going to intersect the y-axis. So this is called as y-intercept, okay. So here this c denotes this y-intercept. So y-intercept is denoted by c here. C does not have any formula or it does not have any value, it's just a numerical, like it will be a numerical term. Now your line can be in different ways, okay. So your line, your straight line can be of different types. It can have positive slope, it can have negative slope. So let me show you that as well. So let's say that I am drawing a particular graph on this x and y. Okay, so this is x and this is y, and basically my line is given by this equation. Let's say the equation of the line is y is equals to minus mx plus c. So what does that mean? It means my slope is going to be negative, but the intercept has to be positive. So the line will be written like will be drawn in this way. So here you can see that now it is inclined at, if I draw a x-axis over here, so this is inclined in the negative direction of that x-axis, right? I have just drawn the parallel of x-axis over here. So it is inclined at the negative direction of that, but the intercept which you can see, this particular point over here to here, this will be called as your intercept C. So this is what you have as a line. Okay, so you can have either positive slope or a negative slope. Even you can have negative intercepts also. So if you have a line, let's say if you have a line drawn something like this, okay, let me extend this, and if you have this in this way, that this is your x-axis and this is your y-axis, and if the line is drawn in this way, okay, the line is this. So what is going to happen over here, that this will be the equation of y is equals to mx minus c. Here you can see that the slope is positive, that's why it is inclined at a positive angle to the x-axis, but the intercept over here is negative, because you know that at this particular point x will be 0, and in this direction you have minus y, right? The y is in negative direction. So this particular one tells you about the negative slope, and that's what it is going to. Okay, so the intercept is negative in this case. Now I am going to take some equations which are there in your chemistry, okay, which will come across in chemistry, and we are going to see that how you can apply these straight line equations or these straight line like values over there to understand the slope and all. Let's take a simple equation of Arrhenius equation. The Arrhenius equation is given by k is equals to a e to the power minus ea by rt. Now right now you cannot apply straight line equation here, but if I take ln both sides, the equation in the logarithmic form is this, that is ln k is equals to ln a minus ea upon rt, right? This is the equation which I have. Now if I am going to plot this in a particular straight line plot, and what I have to take over here is, let's say that we have ln k on the x-axis, okay, so on the y-axis I have ln k, and on the x-axis I am taking 1 upon t. All right, now just compare these two things. So ln k is on the y-axis, okay, and on the x-axis you have 1 upon t. This is on the x-axis. So you can see, if you compare this with the straight line plot, which is y is equals to mx plus c, what does it tells you? It says that here you are going to have a slope with whatever value is written along with x. So the slope for this line is going to be minus ea upon r, right? So that means my slope is negative. And what is my intercept here? So the intercept in this case is going to be equal to c. It's going to be equal to ln a, right? Ln a means a positive intercept. So how does my line is going to look like? So my line is going to look something like this, okay? This is how the line is going to look like. Now let me write down the values here. So my slope is going to be equal to minus ea upon r, and the intercept will be this ln a, okay? So from here to here, if I see, so this is ln a. Got it? So it is as simple as that. You just need to understand the equation. You have to just put it, and you can just draw this particular equation in the form of straight line. I'll take one more equation for you guys. Let's take the Lineweaver-Burk plot. So let's talk about the Michaelis-Menten equation which we have in the terms of your rate and Vmax. So that equation is given by 1 by r. So r is rate over here, is equals to Km plus the substrate concentration divided by you have the Vmax value, right? And along with that you have the substrate concentration. Now on rearranging this equation, if you just rearrange it and if you plot it, so basically you will be getting 1 by r is equals to you will be getting like Km upon Vmax into substrate concentration. I have just separately divided or separately like I have just separated this addition, okay, that's it. So this substrate concentration and substrate concentration will get cancelled out. I'll get 1 upon V max. Basically, if you are not able to relate it, just remember this equation, that rate of an enzyme catalyzed reaction is given by V max into substrate concentration divided by you have Km plus substrate concentration, where Km is your Michaelis Menten constant, V max is the maximum rate which you can achieve for a particular enzyme catalyzed reaction. Now, if you have this equation and now you want to plot it on the straight line, so you can do that so very easily. You just need to plot it. So you just need to plot it against your x and y axis. So you will be having these like this. So over here on the x axis, what I am going to take, so just look at this equation very carefully. I am going to take this particular part on the y axis. So I'll have 1 by rate on the y axis, and I am going to take 1 upon substrate concentration on the x axis. So 1 by substrate concentration on the x axis. Now if you see this graph, you can easily see that this particular thing or this particular value is going to be the coefficient of 1 by s. So if you compare this with the straight line plot, that is y is equals to mx plus c. So y, this is going to be plotted on the y axis. So this is y, this is going to be x. So whatever is there, Km upon V max is slope. So I can write down that my slope is equals to Km upon V max. And what about your intercept? So this particular part is going to be your intercept. Okay, so this is intercept, 1 upon V max. So you have positive slope, you have positive intercept. So the line is going to have something like this. Okay, it is going to look something like this. I'll write down the slope over here. So the slope of the line is equals to Km upon V max, and the intercept over here is 1 by V max. Okay, so that is how you plot, or you basically see that how you can do these equations, these simple equations which are there on in the physical chemistry on a straight line. So the questions are sometimes asked based upon them, like you are given with the slope and you have to calculate the Km value. You are given with the slope and the intercept, you have to calculate the Km value. So you just know the values now, so you can just put them, solve them, and you will get the value of Km. Okay, so this is one of the very important thing to understand when you are going for the mathematics part. Okay, that is the straight line plot. Next we'll do the differentiation, and then will be followed by the integration part as well. All right, so the next thing which we'll discuss is some important differentiation formula, and I have written them on the screen, you can see. So we'll just one by one discuss them, and there are few points which you need to like keep in mind, that also we'll discuss. Okay, so the first thing is, if you differentiate any constant, you get a 0. Okay, so any differentiation of any constant, it can be like a, c, anyway, like it can be denoted in any way. So if you differentiate that particular constant, you get 0. Okay, so that means our differentiation of a constant is 0, right? The next thing which we have to see is differentiation of x with respect to x gives you 1. All right, this I guess all of you know it already. These are some very basic things which all of you know. Differentiation of x to the power n is going to give you n x to the power n minus 1. Differentiation of ln x is going to give you 1 by x, and differentiation of e to the power x is going to give you e to the power x itself. Now one thing which you have to note over here, I have written down on the screen, it says that if we have a constant coefficient of with the differential, basically it gets multiplied. Okay, that's what you have to keep in mind. So if you have a x to the power n, where a is a constant, so you don't have to differentiate a will get multiplied with the value. So x to the power n has a differentiation of n x to the power n minus 1, just multiply a with that. If you have e to the power ax, now you can see that you have a constant coefficient here, right? So that particular a will be multiplied after differentiating. So e to the power x has e to the power x itself, e to the power ax will also have e to the power ax, but this a will get multiplied over here. So that is a few points which you need to keep in mind while solving these questions. There are few more things like your product rule. So that will be used when you will be solving commutation and all in the quantum mechanics. So let me tell you about that as well. So basically the product rule, what is it says, the product rule says that, let's say if I have two functions, okay, let's say I have two functions and I am denoting those functions as phi and psi. Okay, I am denoting these two functions as phi and psi. So if I have to differentiate d by dx of phi and psi both, I have to differentiate both of them, and both of them are function of x. In that case, how to differentiate it? So first keep psi and differentiate phi, okay, with respect to x, and plus then keep your phi outside and differentiate your psi. Okay, so this is how you differentiate two product of two functions. Division of two functions is also there, but that is rarely seen in chemistry, so we won't be doing that. Okay, all right, so now let's try to apply a few of the things. Okay, let's say I have to differentiate 1 by x. So what and how I am going to do so? So 1 by x can be written like this: d by dx of x to the power minus 1, and now the same formula. The formula was n, that is minus 1, and x to the power n minus 1, that is minus 1 minus 1. So it will become x to the power minus 2. So this particular value will be 1 minus 1 upon x square, right? X to the power minus 2 will be x like 1 by x square. So this is what we will get as differentiation of 1 by x. So there are many things which you can keep on exploring it. So this particular thing, that is the product rule, will be used like this. One more thing is there which you can have. In that, what is going to happen? Let's say I have d by dt. Okay, I am differentiating with respect to t now. I have t minus t minus 298, let's say. Okay, this is what I have. So how I am going to differentiate? So basically you have to differentiate t first, and then with minus you have to differentiate this. Okay, so basically what we will get is differentiation of dt by dt and minus d by dt of 298. You have seen this differentiation of x with respect to x gives you 1. In the same way, differentiation of t with respect to t is going to give you 1, and minus differentiation 298 is a constant term, so differentiation of a constant gives you 0, so you get 1 at the end. Now let's say that we have to differentiate this d by dt of t minus 298 now. Okay, and whole square of that. Okay, we have already seen that. So the whole square of that. So how we are going to do? So this will be done in two basic steps. Okay, the first step will be just like keep everything in the bracket as a single entity. So keep everything as t over here. So the differentiation of t square will be how much? That will come out around 2 times of this, right? 2n and n minus 1, the formula we will use here, right? So like d by dt of t square, just imagine it like d by dt of t square. So this will be like 2t, right? That's what you will get. So 2 and the value over here, t minus 298. Now we are not done yet. Okay, we have to differentiate whatever is there in the bracket once again. What is the logic behind it? That we have taken everything in the bracket as a single entity, we have differentiated that. After differentiating, we have to differentiate the entity which is there in the bracket once again. So that means I have to differentiate d by dt of t minus 298 again. So we have seen that differentiation of 298 gives me 1. So this whole thing is going to give me 1, and if you multiply it with 1, so the final answer will be 2 into t minus 298. So that is how it will be done. Okay, so it is also one of the part of differentiation, where if you have certain value which is given in the bracket and it's the function of that particular part, and you have certain power of that, so solve it as you do, and later on just differentiate that particular bracket part also. Okay, so that's what is there in your differentiation. So I guess you have understood. These were certain basic things for your differentiation. Now let's take something some important and a basic now let's understand what important things are there in the integration part. All right, so let's look upon some important formula in the integration. Just like we were having the formula in differentiation, we have integration also. You can imagine, or you can see, that integration is actually reverse of your differentiation. Just like multiplication and division are, just like plus and minus are, in the same way integration and differentiation are reverse of each other. So if you integrate a constant term, if c is a constant, if you integrate that, you get a product with x. Okay, if you just have dx, let's say, if you are just integrating dx, you don't have anything with it, so you will get x with it. And every time when you differentiate any term, when you integrate any term, you get a constant in that. Okay, that's why I have written this c everywhere. So this c is actually a constant which is called as constant of integral. Okay, this will be done if the integration is done without any limits. There is one more type of integration which is called limit integration within the limits. So if I have a and b as the limit of this dx, in that case it is going to give me x. Okay, the value will be same, Now I'll not put any constant here, I'll just put this values like lower limit, this is called as lower limit and this is called as upper limit. So the formula is that you have to subtract lower limit from the upper limit. So upper limit minus lower limit is what you have to do. So it will be b minus a. That is going to be the final answer of this. In the same way, you can do the same thing with every of these. Okay. So integration of x dx is x square upon 2 plus c. C is coming here because there is no limit. If limit will be there, you have to remove c and you have to use this formula. Okay. X to the power n dx is going to give you x to the power n plus 1 divided by n plus 1 plus c. Okay, e to the power x dx is going to give you e to the power x dx only, and that constant is coming here because that is a constant of integral. If you have a constant with this x, okay, just like e to the power ax dx, in that case you have to divide that coefficient. Okay, so whatever coefficient you have of the x, you just have to divide with it. So in the previous one we have seen that we multiply with it, but here we divide it. Okay. One more thing which you should know is that if you have integration, like let's say if you are integrating a particular term, let's say I have c and e to the power x, and I'm doing it with some limit a and b. Okay, so c being the constant is not going to get integrated, this will come outside of the integration. You just have to integrate e to the power x dx, okay, from a to b. Now you can use this equation which we have seen. So basically what is going to happen, that c will remain as it is, e to the power x will be e to the power x itself, but you have to apply the limits, that is from a to b. So upper limit minus lower limit, so this you will get as e to the power b minus e to the power a as your final answer. Okay, so that's how we do integration. There are few more important things in integration which we are going to discuss. So the first thing is integration of a product of two functions. Okay, just like we have seen differentiation of product of two functions. So let's say I have to integrate two functions, these are psi and phi, and I have to I have to integrate them. So how it will be done? The formula says that you have to use ILATE first of all in order to give priority to them. What you have to use? You have to use ILATE method. ILATE tells you that I for inverse trigonometric functions, okay, inverse trigonometric functions, L means logarithmic functions, A means algebraic function, okay, T is trigonometric functions, and E is exponential functions. Okay, so you have to give priority based upon this. So let's say psi is a algebraic function and phi is a exponential function, so psi will become first and like phi is going to become second. Okay, so this is going to become first and this is going to become second. So after giving this priority only you have to assign it. Okay, first and second function you should know. So the rule is that you don't have to do anything with okay, so the formula for this is that you don't have to do anything with the first function. Okay, just leave the first function as it is, integrate the second function, okay, dx, minus, then what you have to do, you have to put a big integral sign, and now you have to write down everything in brackets. In the bracket you have to differentiate the differentiate the first function, okay, differentiate the first function multiplied by the integral of the second function, and when you solve everything you have to integrate that. So this is the formula, but you have to understand it, that what actually has been done. See, up till here it's quite clear, right, that keep the first function and integrate the second function. Okay, second function needs to be integrated, minus what you have to do inside the bracket. Okay, so you don't have to integrate, first of all solve the bracket. The bracket says that integrate the second function and take the product of that with differential of the first function. Okay, so differentiate the first function, multiply with the integral of the second function, whatever you get as whole, just integrate everything. So this is a big formula which very rarely is asked, or which very rarely is used. So that was all about this particular video. Well, that's it guys for this particular video. We have taken some very basic mathematical tools which were important for understanding basics of chemistry. Okay, basically where the mathematics comes. Okay, so we have done the straight line plot, we have understood that, we have done integration and differentiation. Whatever I have told you, this much is well and enough for solving questions based upon integration and differentiation. Apart from that, you will rarely get any other differentiation or integration to be done. Okay, So these are the basic formula which you need to know. There are many formula, there are trigonometric formulas also, there are inverse trigonometric formulas also, but I have not discussed them in the video because I don't want to make this video mathematical. I just wanted to make this video in such a way that it is beneficial for the chemistry student. Alright. So that's all from my side. I hope this video will be helpful for you for understanding, for preparing, for for developing whatever you know in the chemistry. And that's all from my side, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and if you are new to this channel, do subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, give it a like. If you want to share this video, just share it with your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Till then, have a great day. Bye bye.